No introductions needed. How's that for starting the show?
I love it. Love it. What I'm doing here is I'm trying to get you to give me like a monthly spot where I can come on and just harass you.
Speak to Mickey about that. If Mickey is happy with that, then I am happy with that.
You're so funny. You're so funny.
Andy Malone, welcome back to the show. Literally a month. Exactly a month.
I've been a busy girl.
Clearly, in a period of a month, I mean, that's workaholic status.
I got to give some credit. There's a team behind me, and we have these new covers about to come out. Okay, so I am in love with my book covers. I think that is normal for an author, especially, it's my first series I ever wrote. It's all about Jekyll Island. My girlfriend Jolene actually took the cover photo for book 1. It's this iconic picture. And everybody who's ever been to Jekyll Island, Georgia, this little island, it's a barrier island off the coast of Georgia. Everybody knows this picture that's kind of on my cover, but it's our version of it. And the second picture or the second cover was this historic hotel. And the third one is a beautiful drone shot of the marshes. Turns out, if you get out of this little region that I live in, people don't understand that they're fiction books. The covers look like travel guides. And the titles actually support that notion. It's awful. Escape to Jekyll Island. That sounds like a go on vacation on Jekyll Island, right?
Yeah.
Treasure on Jekyll with a shot of the marshes. It's a treasure. And then somebody told me my book 2 with the hotel on it, it's in bloom on Jekyll, look like a gardening guide. And these are gorgeous covers, okay? They're just not marketable fiction-wise for everywhere else in the world that isn't the Southeast region. So what we've done is we have created some covers that are more on trend for the way people are doing fiction covers. There's some illustration in it that's more artsy. It's more fun. And now we've just got new covers that are coming out, and it's going to be a big difference. And hopefully they're going to jump off the shelves to fiction readers who are going to go, oh my God, that looks like a great fiction book. Not, oh, cool, I need to remember to pick up that travel guide the next time I want to go to Jekyll Island. So, and then, apparently nobody knows what Jekyll Island is, even in the United States. But this is not shocking, because if you ever watch those segments where they ask college students questions and you're just embarrassed by the answers, like who was the Civil War between, and they're stumped, that kind of stuff. I figure it's not shocking that people don't know what Jekyll Island is. But by the same token, everybody associates it with like Jekyll and Hyde if they don't know. So we wanted to get out some fanciful fiction-y covers because these are also mystery and suspense books, but we want it to be something people are drawn into. Not enough to show pretty pictures of my island. But that's okay, because someday when I'm famous and they've turned this into like a TV series or a Lifetime movie, I can always bring back the original covers. I have a plan. I don't know if it's a good plan, but it's a plan.
Yeah, it definitely is a plan. So for listeners who are probably listening now and being like, okay, what is Jekyll Island? What is she talking about at the start of the show? As I did mention, Sandy was with us exactly 1 month ago, and I'm going to tag that show to the show when it is uploaded so you can get to know about her. And I mean, you went into it deep about where you started off first, as a wedding planner, and then, finally became a successful author. So that's what's up. That's what's up. Before I continue, there was something you mentioned there, which is a bit off topic, but I want to get your opinion on it as an author. How important is it for an author to have a team behind them?
Wow. Okay. I think it's very important when I started doing this and I started publishing, one of my friends whose husband was already writing books, she said to me, you have to find your tribe. And she meant group of authors that I was going to work with. The problem is that I've already been writing and editing for 30 plus years. I don't function well in any kind of a collaborative structure with that. I don't care what anyone's opinion is. I know that's rude, but to be honest, I don't want to sit in a circle with 4 people who know less about editing than me and hear them give me stupid ideas. I don't have time for that. But what I do acknowledge is there are things I do not know. I do not know how to market books properly. I do not know how to position or how to choose what time of year, what kind of book comes out. Who knew dark novels are good in the fall? Dark family stories do well going into the holidays. So I needed a team of people who were smarter than me to tell me how to go about doing the next steps. The books didn't look bad. I'm quite proud of them. The books looked good. I have a friend who is a graphic designer, but she's not a book cover designer, who helped me with the covers. And I had done the layouts myself using Atticus. And they don't look bad at all. They look really good. Unless you are a professional book designer and you see it and you go, it's got stuff. So now I'm working with a team of professionals that are experts in a variety of areas for my books. One is Dina Ray is this amazing book cover designer who is helping me out. I mean, the woman who did all my initial designs, she's amazing. Patty, one of my best friends. But she and I were both stumped. We are not book designers. What is it that needed to be done in a certain way to make it work? Where do you need to put things that are going to backtrack to algorithms and make it all work? That's a very specialized thing. So working with Dina and Amy Ravichandran and Mickey Mickelson, this has been an incredible combination for me because I'm trying to write and I'm trying to do all these interviews. I do not wake up looking like this. I got to get up. I got to do things. I have real work I have to do in the writing and everything else in the promoting. And having a team that knows what they're doing is, I cannot even say how important, but it's a catch-22 because I made the decision to do it because I had a background in public relations. That doesn't, from years ago, we did some book promotions. I helped promote the crazy Ann Coulter's first High Crimes and Misdemeanors, her Bill Clinton book, 20, 30 years ago. And some people might say, I know how to do this. I don't need a professional team to do it, right? But I don't see it that way. The world has changed and how you promote things has changed. So I see it from the perspective of I need me 30 years forward. I need people who know what's going on in this day and age. I recognize the value of hiring people to help get you to the next level. And so I've started this in the past 6 months. It's been really hard. I mean, giving up my covers, boy, that was sad. I mean, that was tragic. And book 4, okay, wait, I have to, I just put them all, I can't even reach book 4. See, I was organizing because I have new covers coming out. So I didn't think I was going to, I usually have a show and tell stack, but the new covers, anyway, there is a couple getting married on the cover of book 4. And I was going to go to the mats on that one. We cannot change that cover. That's my friend Becky marrying Jim. And the picture was taken by a photographer on St. Simon's Island named Stephanie Conti, who's a friend of mine. And honestly, I asked her for the cover picture a day or 2 after her husband died. And she's now a young widow with 3 young sons. And at the time she was like, oh my God, he'd be so proud of me. So there is no way I could get rid of some of these pictures because these people made this happen for me when I wanted their images for my covers. So I felt my book cover designer is amazing. Dina Ray tackled it, and she's like, "Look, we're not getting rid of the cover. I understand, but we switched it. We made it more of an illustration. We weren't, we ran it by Becky and Stephanie. All those. We probably should have asked the groom too, but that's not how it works. But so he doesn't get a vote. I'm kidding. He's a very nice guy. But we let her put her interpretation and spin on it, and it's going to be a fun. I think Mickey may have sent you a set of the new covers. It is a fun fiction series, and I think that readers who don't know Jekyll Island will now be. Before, I think I was just marketing. It's fiction on Jekyll with these pictures, and you had to know what Jekyll is. The new covers are much more draws your eye in. What are the stories about? Do I want to read this? And there's cool things that are across all of the covers that I didn't even realize were until it was pointed out to me, So these are neat books. They just needed to be marketed properly, and I had to get the right team to help me do it.
Yeah. And you have a balance with your team. You got a creative team and you got a business team, and both has different set of responsibilities, which is good.
Yeah.
So it gives you time to actually focus on what you do best, and that's just writing the story. So from what I've gathered, which is what I wanted to ask first, so this was more of a creative decision, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, a business decision, or a bit of both?
The hiring the team or the changing the covers?
No, the change of the covers. So we're talking about the Golden Isles series.
Right.
And all you've done with that now is you changed the covers and you've added illustrations to it.
Correct.
That's the two defining differences of it.
Yep.
So in making that decision alone, what I've gathered so far, you mentioned, making it more marketable. So that's a business decision, but then it was also a creative decision. So it's about both worlds.
It was a business decision that forced a creative change.
Right.
It was, how do we make this? These books are really, really good, and the reviews are fantastic. And one's won an award. I haven't entered a lot of awards, so because this is all time-consuming stuff. People don't realize, generally speaking, there is no award fairy that flies over and scatters awards. There's a lot of steps to enter things. And so when you are a new author, there's a lot of different choices you have to make. And you have to pick which festivals you want to go to and which book events you want to participate in. Because even though you're there and you're selling books, there was a fee to participate unless you are a special guest. And so those are all business decisions. Should I be spending the time doing X, Y, and Z, or is that just stupid? And is my time being utilized properly? I would like to write all day, every day, forever. Writing is the smallest part of what I do for this. And my hope is that through working with a team of professionals who know what they're doing and are getting to know me and my books, that I'm going to be able to trust them more and more in the future to do the things that are taking up my time now so I can just write. That's a life goal. Bucket list. Want to sit on my screened-in porch with my coffee cup, my laptop, and my dog and write.
And that's exactly what you're supposed to be doing with your time. Is just write in this very overwhelming industry. So explain now the Under the Oaks crossover. Connect the dots for me.
Okay. Well, and that's the series that's not coming out till January. The Under the Oaks is a crossover. So what happened is that's separate from Thicker Than Blood. Thicker Than Blood is a standalone novel coming out in October. But the series we're just talking about, Gem of the Golden Isles, takes place on Jekyll Island. The Golden Isles is a little chain of barrier islands along the Georgia coast. The island next to us is St. Simon's. And okay, there's some rivalry between the islands. We're very different islands. I mean, it is completely comparing apples to oranges. They are both fruit. They are both islands, right? But Jekyll Island is a state park. We don't have any stoplights. The only fast food we have on the island is a Dairy Queen. Yeah. There is no food delivery here after 7 p.m. There is a pizza restaurant, Red Bug Pizza, that will deliver most of the time. If they don't feel like it, they don't answer the phone, and that solves that. But call by 7 p.m. because the sidewalks are rolled up here by like 8:30. Now, St. Simon's next door, they keep their sidewalks out till 9:30, maybe 10. It is also an island of largely retirees and older population, but it has lots of restaurants, lots of shops, lots of traffic, lots of stoplights, and crowded beaches. We, on the other hand, have these beautiful open beaches because we're a state park and no traffic. So you see the rivalry here, right? They have a population like, I don't know, 10 times the size of ours. We've only got less than 1,000 residents that live here. So, what happened is it's natural that my character, Tally Davis, in the Gem of the Gold Miles, she's planning weddings, and you're going to get clients who want to have events over on St. Simon's, the next island over. It makes perfect sense. A lot of people want their guests to get to see more of the area while they've come in for a destination wedding. So Kayla, who's a big character in the first series, she's been poking her boss, Tally, for a couple books. She wants to open a St. Simon's Weddings branch of the company. And at the end of book 5, at the end of the first series, you see them launching the grand opening of St. Simon's Weddings. And Kayla is going over to the other island to run things. Now, there's a delicate balance because Tally didn't want to open another branch until she had enough people. I mean, that was really it. Do I have enough wedding planners to man 2 offices? And this new series, Under the Oaks, is going to be a crossover in that some of your favorite characters are going to keep reappearing because Tally's the boss. She owns the company. But it is a different series, and it has a different main character. And it's still going to be crazy wedding stories that make you laugh while you're reading through the rest of it. But it's next door. So that's where the crossover is. And I'm excited. And that could have come out sooner. But apparently my cover designer rudely has other clients. And she can't work on my stuff just 24/7. Rude. I'm kidding. But so that is why we ended up bumping Under the Oaks to the series to start dropping in 27, because we didn't want to miss that window for dark family stories in the fall. So Thicker Than Blood is coming out then. And, it's a problem because I write fast and I'm having fun writing. I just want to write. So like I said, hear me, Lifetime Television, whomever, once you make these into movies, then I can sit on my patio and I can write all day.
Yeah. So Gem of the Golden Isles had a tone of romance, mystery, humor. Now, the crossover to the new series, does it still carry the same tone?
Yeah, same sort of tone and vibe. There's going to be law enforcement. I was the editor of Blue Lives Matter and the Police Tribune for 8 years. I'm a cop wife. So there will be mystery and suspense and involvement with law enforcement, something that's going on. And like I said, you're going to see repeat characters crossing over. Tally's husband, Mitch, the state trooper. He certainly has jurisdiction in all these areas as well. So, but St. Simon's is really special. It's so funny because the people who live there, they'll refer to it as the island. Like if they're in Brunswick, which is our mainland area, somebody says, "Where do you live?" The island. There's lots of islands. They are that superior, like the island. Anyway, so that's how they feel about that. But the thing is, it is really neat. Like they have the tree spirits. They're in these old live oaks. Famous artists have carved this thing, and we're going to have a treasure hunt of sorts at a wedding. We're going to work in the things that are significant to St. Simon's into that series. Now, little humor. You tell me this. I can't decide if I should write this in. I'm trying. Okay. I'm struggling. Okay. You know who Jeffrey Epstein is, right?
Yeah.
All right. So how about this one? This is true. Learned not long ago that he was a big fan of this area. And he used to bring his airplane here to be serviced in Brunswick. And that is where the Lolita Express lives now. Like that, his plane was here at our airport being serviced when he got arrested. So the plane stayed. Now they have taken off the engines and sold them. But like the Lolita Express is sitting at the Brunswick airport. So God bless our local newspaper. The Brunswick News grabs onto this and they were releasing all those Epstein documents. So then they run all these news stories listing every single credit card charge in the Golden Isles that Jeffrey Epstein made. Now, it's a sleepy place when we're all like, oh, damn, he likes frozen yogurt. He was going to Southern Soul for barbecue on a regular. Wow, who knew he and I like to shop in the same places? So anyway, I'm currently resisting the urge to write Jeffrey Epstein into Under the Oaks. Because I'm just saying, it could be wedding guests being like, is that Jeffrey Epstein? Or it could be like trying to find out whether we can have a cocktail party on the Lolita Express parked at the airport. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah. I would do that. I would do this. You should put it in. It should be put in. Definitely. Yeah.
It's hilarious. I mean, it's nothing about this. Nothing about this is funny. Crimes were committed. But the Lolita Express is, at our airport. I mean, nanny, boo-boo. We have a hooker plane and you don't.
Right.
And the fact that we are islands makes it even better since he was a private island guy. By the way, for the record, I would like to give a disclaimer for St. Simon's. He didn't stay on St. Simon's. He went over to the snootier sea island that just comes off of it, where it's $1 zillion to stay there. That was where Jeffrey Epstein stayed. But it was along our Golden Isles.
Yeah. No, you should definitely fit it in. So let me get this right so listeners don't get confused about where we are right now with the up-and-coming projects from Sandy Malone. We got Gem of the Golden Isles that's coming out with brand new covers. And it's going to include illustration. So those
the illustrations, it depends on whether you're looking at the paperbacks or the ebooks. But there's this, what we didn't use, the new covers are illustrations. They are not straight photos of the island like the original covers were.
So within the book itself, there is no illustration.
There are, but it is, and more prevalent in the ebook. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Like at the beginning of the chapter opening, there's like a pen and ink of the hotel. Stuff like that. Yes, it's much more artsy fartsy. My page breaks are scallop shells now. It's really neat. Yes, there are more illustrations, but it's not. It's illustrations as accents to it. It's not a series of illustrations, but it is really neat, and I'm excited because I think they're very representative of the books and of the region that they're from. I think it's a fun read. It just. When I was being told that your fiction book series looks like travel guides, it's a bit of a gut punch, right? Especially because you just wrote a check for a lot of money to these people who are now insulting your covers. There's no it's for you. Like, did I just pay them to tell me I suck? Yes, in fact I did. I hired them to tell me what to fix.
Yeah. Well, for me, it looks, quite cool, and I am going to attempt to pull out the image I do have of it. So the story itself is still the same.
Nothing's changed in the book.
Nothing's changed with the story.
I may have fixed a couple typos.
Which is okay. Okay, so we got that sorted out now. And then that's going to be released in 2027 Labor Weekend.
No, you mean the new covers? That's coming out Labor
Yep.
Day weekend 26 in 3 weeks.
26.
The new covers are coming out in 3 weeks. And for those who are our stateside and are interested, I will be signing them like all over the place. There's all kinds of events Labor Day weekend to do the relaunch of the new covers. So yeah, 3 weeks till the new covers come out.
Okay, so Labor Weekend 2026, the new covers come out. Another business question, before
Yes.
I continue. How does that affect the old version that's already out there in the market?
Okay, no fair, because I would like to ask that question myself. We shall see. I'm a little. I'll tell you where I'm in a pickle is. My books are in a lot of the stores in the region here. So, what do you do? And I think I'm going to give all those bookstores the option to swap for the new covers, or keep the others as well if they would rather, because this area, those covers are recognizable as Jekyll Island. So until it had to be a reprint thing. I mean, I don't have a lot of backstock, but I'm going to have to ask the bookstores, what do they want to do? How do we want to go about this? I had one that already said they want to carry both. You got the space to do it. Let's do it. I have no idea how this is going to go on a business side or how it's going to be received. But it seems like there's a pretty large audience of people that are not familiar with the book. So hopefully this relaunch will bring it in front of them the first time. And if they didn't notice it last time because it looked like a travel guide, this time maybe they'll look twice and give it a read.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Right. Thank you for the clarity on that. I guess, each store will be different. And if I was someone, that has read the whole series and is a fan of Sandy right now, I would want to get the new covers anyway, right?
Hope so.
I would want to, that'll be like an obvious one. So, and it doesn't matter that I have to spend money again to actually buy the same story again. It's about a fact about just having the updated latest version of it psychologically.
Also, something I didn't really realize, because I'm not one of these people, but people who are very, very into their books pay a lot of attention to how they look on the shelf. We can tell that I am not one of those people. That's okay. Not everybody is. But the new covers are the vibe that is on the new covers is going to be the same vibe for the Under the Oak series. So the books are actually changing. The original books were 6x9. The new ones are 5.5 by 8.5 because it's more of a trade publication size at this point. Different things like that. The Under the Oak series, the new ones, will match the new in the vibe and theme. They're going to match the rollout of the relaunch. So for people who do care if the series on the shelf look like series that go together, that is another reason people might want both sets.
Yeah. Wow. You got a hectic schedule coming up between now and next year.
Well, you know what the funniest thing is, Kino? My husband, Bill, was a SWAT commander in DC, and then we were wedding planners. And he used to say all the time that wedding planning was harder than law enforcement. Like, he would much rather be out arresting people than dealing with mothers of the bride, right? So, but he never got to retire. I put him right back to work wedding planning for 11 years because we, moved to the islands and did that thing. And then Hurricane Maria sent us home. And that's the first time he got to sort of retire. I mean, he was not living a difficult life in the Caribbean. He was working, though. He just didn't have to wake up before noon ever if there weren't clients on the island. So his life was not bad. But now that we're up here and we're on Jekyll, you know what that man is saying? And maybe he's just passive aggressively trying to get me to file for divorce. But he keeps saying, I bet it would be really easy to plan weddings here. We ought to try planning weddings here. I am never planning another freaking wedding again if it's not a best friend's kid or a grandchild. And I'm like, why? Where is this coming from? Why? Good God, Bill, you're 72 years old. Why would you want to do this?
Nostalgic.
Because I think it would be really easy here. I mean, he knows what he's talking about because we did this together. Like, what do you mean? He's like, well, we ran the lighting company, and we did. We owned all the lights. There was no lighting company on Vieques Island. There was no linen rental company. We had to do all the napkins, the tablecloths, all the things. We didn't have choice. Rentals, there was a rental company, but they weren't a typical rental company. We ended up having to purchase important things so that they actually were there. He's like, we don't have to do any of that on Jekyll Island. We just sit there and be like, put that there, put that there. Oh, wait, a little higher. And I looked at him and I said, well, bully for you, honey. Somebody still has to talk to the crazy brides for a year. That part of it does not change. And here they're going to come visit you more often than in the Caribbean on planning trips. Absolutely not. Anyway, it's just, I mean, we were recently asked if we're interested in doing another TV show. And we're like, not if it involves weddings. No, I plan more than 500 weddings. I think there's like a crazy switch that's going to hit where instead of planning weddings, I'm going to see like whoever's the badly behaved person and set out to destroy them. I don't know. Just don't think I should be planning weddings anymore.
Well, when we spoke 1 month ago, I told you if I ever decided to get married, you will have to do my wedding on Jekyll Island.
That's fine. That's why I told you so much about the island, trying to get you to come visit. Get it in mind so you can, you can someday look at someone and say, I've always dreamed of getting married on Jekyll Island.
Yeah, it's going to be like I'm going to elope. Nobody's gonna know anything.
Okay, well, you could stay in our guest house before the wedding, and then you could honeymoon in the historic hotel. Fancy pants.
The only guests that will be at my wedding will be the people that are actually staying on the island.
Well, my husband and I are both ordained, so if you want one of us to marry you, we can do it. And the woman shouldn't have anybody other than a minister and a photographer. And then if you have a wedding planner, sometimes we're there to be the other witness.
Yeah. Okay, so
you let me know. I will pencil you in, and I will cancel to plan your wedding. Okay?
Yes, it is on the to-do list. It's on the list. Okay, so we got the timeline set now with the new covers, and then we got Under the Oaks, which is set to release on January. If I'm wrong, January,
February. Yeah, January of February. Early 27, yes.
All right, perfect. And I'm not sure if you mentioned already how many books are expected to be in that series.
Okay, at least 3, maybe 5. And I'll tell you why. I thought 3 because I've got some other book ideas that I really want to do. And because writing Thicker Than Blood was fun, doing a standalone novel, like jumping out of the series to write something else I'd been chewing on in my head. But I don't know. We'll see, because I think this is going to sound crazy. I think it's really going to bug me that one of the series has 3 and the other has 5, but the series go together. I think it's going to bug me. I know it's not logical, but I have plenty of crazy ass bride stories to tell. I mean, I could write another 100 copies or, another 100 books about wedding, fiction that take place in this region. That would be fabulous. I just want to stretch my wings a bit and play with other things. So there will either be 3 or 5. And we'll come back in a month and tell you what we decided.
2 odd numbers, 3 or 5. There's no 4.
No. I don't know why. I do not know why that is. Because I said it was going to be 3, but it's bugging me that the first series is 5. So if I'm going to do more, it's going to be 5. Thank you for pointing out that I had neglected 4.
Yeah, it seems you love the odd numbers, not the even ones.
I'm odd, okay? Go with it. Americans had issues.
Okay, so we got the timelines of the 2 series, the relaunch, and then the new series, January to February 2027. all cool there. You've already explained what the story is going to be about. So let's move on now to also a novel that's in the mix. You remind me of being a DJ, honestly speaking, mixing 3 to 4 tracks together at once, because that's exactly what you're doing with your life right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm learning as I go. And I was doing the very, very, very final professional proofread came back on Thicker Than Blood. So I had to go through and say, yes, make this fix, don't make this fix, what have you. Because sometimes the proofreader says this is wrong, but you're like, no, that was right. That's exactly what it's supposed to say. You know what I mean? Like, they ain't always right. And I was proofing that, and I was getting emails about covers for the other one. And you are absolutely right. I was like, fingers on 3 different books. Yeah. Yeah, except for if the sound that mine will make if it collides is nothing anyone wants to dance to.
Yeah. So let's talk about the novel Thicker Than Blood.
Yes.
Yes. You can start with, what is it about? We're not giving away too much details.
All right. It is very different from the series I've written. This is not a wedding book. It is not rom-com. Thicker Than Blood is a fictional story about a patriarchal society family in the suburbs of Washington, D.C., who, where in their family, money and influence are more important than anything else. And it's not about love. It's not even about, we're related. It's not even about blood. It's about money and influence. And so the story, this is what was the hardest for me in writing it, is written through the eyes of 3 generations of women in the same family, like the grandmother, the mother, and the daughter, so to speak. And all 3 of those women have to contend with Alzheimer's. Not the in the book, I don't give it all away, but this is how I explored my journey with my mom and my grandmother and my great aunt all having Alzheimer's. And I've been, my whole life, Alzheimer's has been a part of it. But imagine when you're in a family such that one of these big society families where nobody ever shows what the problems are on the outside, and how tormented these women were as they were going through this. I really explored my journey with, dealing with years and years of Alzheimer's and how it feels as a daughter and waiting for it to hit me. But see, I think it's really relatable right now because unfortunately there is more dementia and Alzheimer's happening than ever before. And I'm in my 50s, and I think a lot of people are in my age range are starting to have to parent the parents, help them make better decisions. And it's awful. I should have gotten more involved with my mom earlier. I should have dragged her butt to the memory center for testing 5 years before I did. But there's something about guarding people's dignity as well. When your mother, who you respect and who's always been an on the ball person, starts slowly having memory problems and losing their marbles, they get very defensive about it. And even if they know it's coming, it has to do with the way dementia takes over. And you don't want to insult them. You don't want to say, hey, you're losing your marbles. I want to take over your life. And it's a really, I don't know, it's a horrible, horrible disease. And it is, for some families like mine, it just looms over you your entire life. Like, when will I start forgetting things? And it's a horrible feeling. And on top of that, it just means you get cheated. Because the last however many years of my mom's life, it wasn't my mom. I mean, she was my mom. And when she initially had to go into assisted living, she was really mad. Really mad. But when we got over that angry hump and she started to be happy and make a life and do things, I got cheated. Because I didn't, other people have their moms into their 90s. And then my mother, all of a sudden, my mother had a seizure. And it turned out her brain was filled with tumors. We had no idea. She wasn't in any pain. And then she died like 10 days later. And so with my mom, I didn't have to go through the final stages of Alzheimer's like we did with my grandma, like the whole when they don't know you and they're curled up in the fetal position in their 90s. I've been through it with my great aunt and my grandma. So maybe it was a blessing in disguise that I never had to have a time where my mom didn't know my name. But all these things, I took that journey and I worked them into this fictional story. Like, what happens when you have a family like this and you have this horrible memory disease that's attacking the most vulnerable members of the family? And I really explored my whole experience with that.
Yeah, wow. So would you say also a component to Thicker and Blood is to also help people out there that are in a situation that you were in before and to guide them?
I hope it does, but I will tell you, and I don't know if I told you this story last time. So I'll make it really brief, but the writing of it came from I got a therapist after my mom died, because I had a book come out the week my mom died, and I just had to stuff all my grief in and get through a couple things. And I stuffed it so far down, I was having trouble dealing with it. So I got a therapist and talked with her a few times, and she said, I want you to write a letter to your mom. And I had just had a shoulder replacement and my arm was in an immobilizer and I couldn't write. And then I got the typing privileges back, but I'm from the kind of family where you do not type a letter like that. You handwrite it. And I couldn't do that. And I started thinking so much about it. And when I had the typing privileges back, so I started writing a story about a woman like my mom. And I kept writing. And the next time I talked to my therapist, she said, have you written the letter? I said, no, but I've written a 75,000 word book. So, I mean, this is not my mom's story. It is not autobiographical, but it is a fictional story heavily laden with elements of my personal journey with my mom's Alzheimer's and my experiences. I think it is relatable. I think for other people going through it, it is relatable. And I think for people who are blessed, do not have it in their families, I think it gives a little more insight as to what their friends who are dealing with it are going through. But it's fiction. It's just I worked that in, and it's what if then, and it's hard. It was hard to write, but I think that it will be enlightening for people. It'll be a different perspective on a disease that has become a huge thing in this world.
Yeah, I agree. You know what I find so fascinating about fiction, and I mean, this is just, chatting with so many authors over the last year, is that there's so many hidden messages, within fiction. Like, if you want to educate somebody, right? Like, a nonfiction book doesn't really do it anymore. It's just so black and white, right? And you get bored, or I get bored easily. But if you're reading a fiction with this dotted line to nonfiction, where it's an amazing story that's also going to make you laugh in between, but it's also educating you on a specific topic. And I just see that happening so much. And that's a huge step, for fiction authors. It's no longer just, the story that came to mind now. There's this major hidden message that is going to assist either you personally or how to handle a certain situation in your life. So thank you for writing such a book.
Well, I hope it is, I hope it's well received by people who are going through the same journey. And like I said, I hope it gives other people insight. But it also is a thought-provoking, dark family story. I don't know if you ever read V.C. Andrews. I don't think you're the right age or gender to have been a huge V.C. Andrews fan. But I can tell you that in 6th grade, when we were passing around the original Flowers in the Attic, the cover of Flowers in the Attic, the original one, this big, dark mansion, little window where when you opened it, you could see flowers. That is what I have in mind for Thicker Than Blood and that sort of series. Because you know what? Those families really do exist. And, it's not always quite like, I believe in the Flowers in the Attic, it was out in the middle of rural Virginia. And, so nobody knew what was going on. But there's families like that everywhere where it's all hidden, but it's happening in plain sight of everybody around them. So I want to write more of those stories. I can hit the e-cig when I know you're going to have to cut it out.
You can eat the e-cig whenever you feel like on the show. You know, this is the coolest show.
It's really, I know, but then there's just people that judge me. It was funny when we made the TV show. I quit smoking years before it, and when they started filming, I was smoking again like by the end of the week because everybody on the production team smoked. So there were just cigarettes everywhere, and so I went to like e-cigs are less awful than regular cigarettes because they don't offend everybody around them, but it's still a nasty thing, and I should get rid of the habit.
Yeah. And there's no smell, and you don't have to carry a lighter around the whole time.
You can be mad sneaky with these. I'm not that sneaky. I don't know why. It's like, but you can be mad sneaky with them.
Yeah. But I mean, look at vapes. You know, vapes is like just trending. Like, I even like vapes, you know?
Okay, but I don't understand vape. Okay. Well, all right. If it's a marijuana vape, then I understand. Okay. That's a separate category. But what I do not understand are the vapes that are big, stinky, fruity smelling vapes that aren't even nicotine. Why?
Yeah.
Why? I mean, there are people who are just sucking on stinky air.
Yeah. And what gets me, okay, I understand your whole point on the 0% nicotine, right? But what I can't figure out about people that still smoke cigarettes full time, and then they got like about 2 to 3 vapes with nicotine as well in it, and I'm like, what exactly do you want to smoke? It seems that you want to smoke everything that has nicotine in it, you know, instead of one of the two.
I have the answer to this. I know why. If I still smoked, like real cigarettes, I'm only allowed to smoke if I'm drunk. And I very rarely get really drunk, like to that state where I would be drunk enough to remember I'm allowed to have cigarettes. So it doesn't happen. But if I still smoked real cigarettes, I would definitely have an e-cig in my pocket because in the 80s and the 70s, everybody smoked everywhere. There were only a very few places you couldn't smoke. Now you cannot smoke anywhere. I travel for work all the time, right? I feel so sorry for all those people standing outside hotels with their like, you can't, I mean, you have to like, no, you can't do this. It really sucks. When I was in DC in the 80s and 90s working, hell, there were still boardrooms with ashtrays on the table. And I think that there's been a big shift. I think it's good that people aren't smoking. Don't misunderstand. But heck yeah, I understand the smoker that also has all these cigs. Because if they were smoking cigarettes, they are dedicated smokers. And as such, they need a cigarette. And damn it, they can reach in their pocket and get an emergency, whatever. It's not, you know how they have nicotine gum and patches? I think that's great if that is what you need. But I think for a lot of us, it's a fixation. It's a thing in your hand. It's a
habit. It's a habit having it in your hand.
It's less about getting the nicotine. If you said to me, you can keep this, but it won't have nicotine in it. Like, I would probably continue. I could see that I would keep. It's a habit. That's terrible.
It's habit.
It's terrible.
It's the holding habit, and it's whatever is going on within the mouth. So that's why we see like a lot of people who just completely stop smoking. They always eating. You know, always eating because they need to keep their hands and mouth busy all the time. And even if they're not eating food, they're always carrying around like a packet of chips, for example.
Well, they made when we were filming, we had a break in filming. So I was smoking by the end of the first week, right? So a couple weeks in, it became like a pain in the butt because TLC didn't want me smoking cigarettes on camera. It was their production company's fault. And so I was stressed about it. But I also a girl that was on the island, a friend of mine, was like, hey, have you tried these? Well, this was the solution. Because for right then and there, it was the hand fixation and the nicotine, but it's not on fire. You're not making a commitment to smoke a whole cigarette when you light it. You could just go. And when you make a reality TV show, you know all those interviews that you see people doing? Housewives, yeah, hours and hours. Okay, I never looked that pretty and nobody put makeup on me. But I had to film 16 hours of interview a week. And when you're sitting there filming for that, 4 hours at a shot, because, your head's going to explode. It's that or drink. That's why they all drink. I mean, it's anyway. So I picked my poison, and it's a terrible poison, and I hope none of my grandchildren ever do it, and I want to get rid of it. But the reason your friend has cigarettes and vapes is because the world is cigarette unfriendly. And you can't actually continue. You can't maintain. It would make you a grumpy beast if you didn't have a backup. That's my opinion.
Yeah. You just got that continuous smoking going on, like 24/7 when you have both. Yeah.
I get it. I don't disagree with you at all. You're right. Like, you're totally right.
Yeah.
But that's why they're doing it, is because it's got to suck to be a smoker who follows the rules, right? So you go out and freeze your ass off smoking a cigarette at your hotel or what have you. And then you go into the conference the next morning that you're in that hotel for. And down the road from you, all the bitches have their e-cigs. And you see them, because you can hide it in your, okay? I might have done this on an airplane or two. You can hide it in your sleeve and go, now, and then you can't see a whole lot of, I can make it show vapor, but you really can't see anything coming out, and it has no odor. So,
Yeah.
And so if I were the real smoker down the out watching the ones at that, I'd be like, it's me, you're sick. Unfortunately, that is not considered probably good professional etiquette. And I can't believe we're having a conversation about this, but I am okay with it on the radio. And then, my mom was Dawn. What? Come on, I went to Catholic girls' school, okay? I am perpetually guilty and ashamed. So, but these are a better option when
podcast be so diverse. That's what we do. That's how we roll.
Well, wouldn't you rather hang out with a friend that's smoking something that doesn't stink than your friend who wants you to go outside and watch him smoke a cigarette?
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. That's a good point to make.
I mean, like in the 80s, I was in a business where we never would have smoked inside, but we used to go outside for staff meetings because more people smoked than didn't in our immediate work team. There'd be like a meeting, 8:15 meeting, and you'd see everybody in my team putting on coats and grabbing their cigarettes. It's just a different time now. And that used to be a very social part of things. Do you want a cigarette? Sure. Remember the TV show Bewitched? What was that, the 60s? That where his boss would Bewitched. Did you guys have that one? It's about this woman who was actually a witch who married a human. And, they live a happy marriage secretly. She's actually a witch. He knows it. And he's like, don't do that in public. And she has like wacky witch family members. But back in that era, every time his boss came in, I think his name was Larry would come in and he'd say, do you want a drink, Larry? And he'd say, make it a double, Darren. And we always joke about it because they're saying it as they're lighting their cigarettes. So pretty much early television tried to kill all of us. But in Bewitched, we always joke, like, make it a double. If we drank as much as everybody drank in the 50s and 60s, we all be pickled.
Yeah. How times have changed, as the years unfold. How times have changed. I mean, if you watch these movies that are based, around the 80s and 70s and so on, you do see that, you see people in office and they're just smoking wherever they are. And it was okay. It's normal. It's part of life. So I've seen that a lot, with the old school movies. Yeah. Okay.
So I'll tell you, it's the only time I crave a cigarette is when certain movies and TV shows where everybody's like, and you're like, God, that looks good. And I tell my husband that and he laughs at me. I'm like,
Yeah. And does he smoke?
never had. I tried, I think one of his grandfather's Lucky Strikes when he was a little kid. He lit it on the gas stove and started choking, may have thrown up in the kitchen, never touched it again. So he's yeah.
It's not for everyone. Not
Well,
for
it's bad. It's bad. Do not smoke. If I had it, do you know why I started smoking? True story. I know you want to move on, but true story. Why I started smoking. I was 16 and I needed an excuse to sit on the boardwalk and look at boys with my friends. So we would have a cigarette and watch the boys on the boardwalk. And the boys were like 3 benches down having a cigarette watching the girls. It was to be cool. It was to fit in. I was, like I said, maybe it was the summer I was 15, but I think it was 15, 16. And
Yeah.
it was absolutely about being cool.
When we were in school, it was about to be cool, or you needed to fit in, And if you were in the illegal smokers corner in school, you were one of the cool kids.
At least the fun kids. My husband says the smokers are always the most interesting. He loves to go out and talk to the smokers. You get the best stories. You don't even smoke. It's like, yeah, but the stories.
I can't argue with that. I cannot argue with that. So thank you for explaining the story behind Thicker Than Blood. And when is that going to be released?
October 9th. I am so excited. And I absolutely have to get into the studio to record the audiobook in the next few days. Because that's got to go out with the other. Last time it was the books came out, and then I'm working on the audiobooks for Gem of the Golden Isles. This time I have a professional team behind me, and we're going to have it come out as a beautiful package.
Nice.
So I need to get my butt in there and read it.
Yeah. Yeah, very nice. Okay, so I got the schedule. It all makes sense to me now, and I hope it does make sense to listeners, except you got, like, as I said before, your schedule is not normal right now. Yeah, as long as you're enjoying it and you're having fun, 3 weeks, the relaunch of the covers, and then you got Thicker Than Blood after that. And before you know it, it's January 2027, and the new series is out. And in between, meeting people like me.
You're one of the most fun conversations I've had this week, So,
Thank you.
You call me anytime you need somebody.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, look how it manifested so quick, You mentioned it, I was like, yeah, sure, anytime, just let Vicky know. Next thing you know, it's a month later, here we are again, having an awesome conversation with a lot of diversity.
Well, just, keep in mind that when I become world famous, I'm clearly going to need to come on tour to South Africa, and you're clearly going to have to show me all the cool things.
No problem. No problem. When a lot of people ask me about South Africa these days, I'm like, so it's like any country, there's the good and the bad, but, there's just so much happening, around the world right now, and it's so chaotic at times, and at times you just feel like, okay, you know what? And the brutal honest truth is I don't really go out anymore. One of my colleagues who's out in Canada is like all the time, every single week, Kino, you need to get out. Kino, you need to get out. And I'm like, I went to the gym. That's good enough for me,
No, I get it, because my work schedule has been so crazy for a while that when I don't have obligations, like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to put on a bra. I don't want to leave the house. That is the bar, man. Do I have to put on makeup and a bra?
Yeah.
I do want to very seriously think about whether this is worth my time.
Yeah. So not only do we need to get you in South Africa, we need to get your books in local South African bookstores.
I would love that. You know what I write into one of my books? True story. I had a South African nanny when I was a little girl, but she wasn't really Well, she was a nanny, but her dad was in the government in South Africa. And this was when things were very, very ugly. And the white government was running everything before Nelson Mandela's stuff. And she was 18 or 19. And my dad was in general aviation, like small airplanes. And my uncle had a connection somehow. And her name was Claire. And I think it was Claire Brown. And she came and lived with us for a year and went to school and worked as a nanny. But it was because of her age, her parents needed to get her out of South Africa with the government and the apartheid crumbling. She was a young, she was a college freshman age. So she came and started classes and worked as a nanny because her parents needed her for her own safety out of South Africa. But she had a little sister who was young enough to stay with her parents. And I was pen pals with her for years and years and years. You guys had, and it's drawing a blank right now, but you guys had this cool cartoon series. And she sent me all these color forms and felt things that I could put together. And I just thought South Africa was the coolest place in my imagination. And yeah, I've never made it there. So someday. But Claire told me all about what a beautiful place it was when I was a little girl. And that was my one South Africa connection.
Yeah. Wow, that was a throwback when you mentioned pen pal. That was a throwback. I remember having one pen pal when I was in primary school.
But how excited were you? Wasn't getting a letter from your pen pal like the highlight of your week?
Yeah. Sure, I completely forgot about pen pals. Wow. Whatever happened to pen pals?
The internet.
Okay.
Email, instant gratification, chat.
Yeah.
But I mean,
sure. This is a huge throwback.
I know. Well, think about it. For people who live in places where they don't have consistent internet, still write letters. I mean, it's pretty cool. I don't know about that.
Oh,
well, there are still existing pen pal programs. It's just that most of them connect people via the internet. However, if you would like to be pen pals with somebody in a U.S. prison, I understand there's a lovely pen pal module. But hell, even they have internet now. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Commit a crime, get locked up, and you're living your 5-star life.
Yeah, don't mind me. Hold on. Let me get you an iPad, sir. It comes with your incarceration. I thought
Sandy's tax is going to pay for it. Don't worry. We got you.
I thought we were supposed to be punishing them. Why are we giving them iPads?
Yeah. Because of human rights. Because of human rights organizations.
No, there's not a human right to technology. It's not a human right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the Obama phone. So yes, there is a human right to technology in the United States.
So I got one last question for you related to your books. I've already got the takeaway from Thicker Than Blood. Yeah. Now, when it comes to your series, what do you want readers to take away from both the series? We got laughing, we got crying, we got falling in love. That's 3 that I can name that comes to it. What do you want them to take away from it?
Honest to God, it's supposed to be a fun read. They're supposed to finish it laughing, wishing they have the next book in front of them. It's not Thicker Than Blood. You're going to think after you read it. I don't think you're going to think after you've read honestly, you're not going to think about the Gem of the Gold Mile series or Under the Oaks. They're not going to make you think deep thoughts afterwards, unless you have a daughter getting married and it makes you think, oh, now I understand the crazy bitch. But they're great for people. I honestly think they make a great gift for mothers of the bride, because it totally gives you perspective that your daughter isn't as crazy as she could be.
Yeah.
But so those are a fun, exciting, it's not bubblegum for the brain, but it is a non-stressful, fun beach read. I mean, I don't want anybody to be more than, and then, okay, yeah, that looks silly. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I want everybody to gasp with surprise and then have an answer to the thing. These are not books where you shut after the last chapter, that you shut the book and you think about it for 10 hours. Maybe they are for some people. That is not my brain works. But they're more of a Danielle Steele, whereas this book is more of a V.C. Andrews or a Nelson DeMille.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. And are you planning to release it, each one separately, for sale, or is it coming out as a box set?
It's not a box set. They'll be released as individuals. I have not created a box for a set yet, but that's on my list. I will have made it when I've got my boxes. But no, all 5 of them will be available, and all my books are also on Kindle Unlimited. So for folks who are Kindle subscribers, it's free. Check it out.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I really am. I mean, for Kindle subscribers, what's going to change? The cover, but really the interior of the book will change a little bit too. And it's going to just be smoother, more professional looking, kind of exciting.
Nice. Sounds exciting. Okay, so we got all the information that we could ever need from Sandy. Do you want to mention your website where people
Yes.
can learn more? And of course, where they can find the books when it is relaunched?
You can find the books on Amazon, bookshop.org, Barnes & Noble. If you happen to be in the U.S., they're in shops. If you are in South Africa, you should go to your local bookstores and say, we need the Sandy Malone series. And they can get it. But they are available. Also, my website is sandymalone.com. And so you can get them all those places, and check out sandymalone.com, to see what I've got going on and what's coming up, because it's going to be a busy year. And be at Author Nation again in Las Vegas in November and doing Reader Nation. And that's pretty exciting.
Sure. So it's a busy. We're already through half the year. So for the second half of the year, it's hectic.
It is.
But take care of yourself, Take care of yourself as we are in between.
Hey, it is going to be amazing. And it is beautiful summer here, and it's August. So everybody's coming to visit us to stay in our guest house. And I will have a lot of fun and get a lot of work done. And next time you talk to me, there'll be all kinds of more exciting things going on.
I can believe that. I can believe that. Sandy, thank you so much once again for coming on to the show 1 month later. Once again, very entertaining. And
thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we kept it so diverse and talked about topics that people would have never expected to come up. Keeping it real.
And if Claire Brown's little sister is out there and hears this, I can't remember your name. You were my pen pal. Reach out to me.
Have you ever tried looking up?
Honestly, I haven't. I just got thinking about it again recently because my mom died and I'm going through some stuff. Not mentally, going through boxes of stuff. And I came across a cool card my mom with some of my childhood stuff. Some of the cards I got from that pen pal in South Africa. And that is what got me thinking. And I should do a deep dive and see if I can find her. I haven't tried yet. But I was Sandy Nelson then, and we wrote lots of letters, and we sent games back and forth and puzzles. And it was just, in the late 70s, it was pretty cool reaching out to my friend across the world in South Africa.
Yeah. Well, no harm in looking up, and she may be closer than you think.
If I find them, Claire or her sister, see, then I can justify that trip to South Africa.
100%. Well, Sandy, thank you so much again. I wish you all the best and all the success that the universe has to offer. Keep doing what you do. And once again, thank you for your contribution to humanity with your work.
Thank you so much, Kino. This was a pleasure.
All right. Catch you later. No good
Have a
night.
great day.
Catch you later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have a great day. And whatchamacallit, I'll tell Mickey not to send me back to you until we have something new to show. Okay?
Which will be soon, knowing you.
Yeah, it will. I mean, nothing's slow. And like not for publication, but we actually are under a development deal for a new TV show right now. So we'll see what happens. I know I refused to do the wedding show. I was like, I don't want to do weddings. And they said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I mean, it's 10 years after we lost everything in a hurricane, reinvented myself on a new island. So we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to plan weddings on TV. I don't want to never sleep and look like a harridan. I want to be a nice person. So anyway, I didn't like me wedding planning. Anyway, so we got lots going on and I'll keep you posted.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do that.
Take care. Bye, Will.
Bye, you too.